All right, we have made it to week 7 of our Bricks Over Sticks course, and essentially, now that we're more than halfway, one of the things that I will be doing is just kind of getting a feel for where you are with everything. I know that we have covered a lot of ground in the past few weeks, and I want to make sure that it hasn't been overwhelming. I've tried to keep things short, succinct, and just stuff that you can do in a week's time. But I know that life gets crazy. So at the same time, I also want to make sure that we're actually meeting you where you are with what your business needs, what you need, and making sure that everything we've talked about up till now, that those things actually have been able to happen. So we're going to jump in to week 7. And essentially, this week we are covering, oh, pardon me. Da, da, da. Okay, this very first slide is incorrect. I apologize. We are going to be covering in week 7, essentially your sphere of influence. The people who already know, like, and trust you. What is it that you have been able to actually do as far as developing relationships, developing referral sources with them, those kinds of things. But talking about what we did last week, owning your online presence. So we discussed some of really the basic and key aspects of making sure that who you are online is consistent across all platforms. So talked about being the same person everywhere, making sure that your banner art on all of your profiles is pretty much the same. Obviously, sizing differences, you have to account for those, but you want everything to be very obvious that you are a real estate agent, and you want that consistent so that when people see you on one platform, they can easily connect you with your profile on another platform. The online counts that you should have, we talked about the big 3, which were Zillow, Facebook, Facebook, and I am blanking on the other one. There were 3 major ones that we discussed. Those are the 3 that you want to actually have set up for sure. A lot of it comes down to, and Google My Business. That was the other one. I had those in reverse order. Google My Business, Facebook, and Zillow. There we go. You want to make sure that you have those 3, because when somebody is looking for a real estate agent, or when they're looking up your name, they're going to Google you. Those sites are places that Google trusts to have accurate and reliable information, so that when somebody Googles, realtor in your area, Google knows that the information that they're able to feed people, that is going to be accurate and helpful information that matches their search. So those would be the 3 primary accounts to have set up. Obviously, there are a lot more: YouTube channels, Instagram, LinkedIn, business pages, what have you. There's a lot of them out there, but those 3 are the ones that I would for sure start with. And then as you start growing and just gaining more presence online, obviously you can add those other accounts as you get to them. And then your website. Again, this is one of those where a lot of people talk about websites being dead. And recent outages on social media really prove to the point that having an email list and having your own website, both of those things are super, super important, because you don't control social media. You don't even necessarily control all aspects of your profiles on social media. So having those other areas that you actually do have control over, those are vital to your business. So your website, if you don't have one, definitely make it a priority. All right, so this week we're going to talk about marketing to your sphere. You will see this as SOI, sphere of influence, sometimes COI, center of influence. Essentially, same thing. You have influence with the people who already know, like, and trust you in one degree or another. If it's a family member, obviously that is a different dynamic than if it's, somebody that you went to college with. You've got those relationships though, and so that is the area where you have a lot of influence, actually. You probably are not the first realtor that any of those people know. I want to say that like every person in the United States knows like 3 to 4 real estate agents. That's how it averages out. But it is one of those kinds of things where if you are the top of mind realtor, if you are providing valuable information, if you are both educating and entertaining with some of the stuff that you are sending out, you'll find that people will engage you. And again, just that consistency and the frequency we're going to discuss, those things will keep you top of mind. And that really is the name of the game. Be the top of mind realtor so that when somebody is, having a conversation and real estate comes up, you're the name that pops in their mind because I got an email from you a couple days ago, or because you texted them on their birthday. Those kinds of relationships. There's a lot that you can do to invest in those relationships that will turn around and invest back in your business. So really, we're going to be covering a whole bunch of stuff here. Your sphere of influence, it's a gold mine. It truly is. I know that there is some hesitancy sometimes when you are working with people who already know you. Sometimes expectations can be a bit more of a challenge to work with. There's ways to deal with that. There's ways to get past that voice in your head that's telling you you're just pestering all of these people that you know. Those kinds of things, your brain is going to tell you all of this stuff, and I'm pretty much going to tell you that all of it is bunk. Don't listen to it as much as possible. There's a lot of data out there where, again, people want to do business with the people that they know, like, and trust already. If you can meet and exceed those expectations, if you can deliver world-class customer service when it comes to actually serving and following through and delivering for your clients, there's no reason why they shouldn't be working with you. Consistency. As with everything in marketing, consistency is key. If we're talking social media marketing, the algorithms, they're looking for a level of consistency and being able to feed your posts to the people who want to see them. If we're talking about mailers, if you have an area that you are wanting to farm, where you're wanting to send out postcards on a regular basis to, again, be that top of mind realtor and expert in that area. In those instances, again, consistency. Sending one card out every 3 to 4 months is not going to get you the kind of results that you would want to see. So again, that consistency, just being there, staying top of mind, people know what to look for. Branding consistency is another piece of that. All of those are going to function together to actually, again, keep you top of mind. Referrals are a huge aspect of your sphere. So the people that you know, they might not be looking to buy or sell, but those people know another 6 to 10 people that you don't know, and they're kind of the gatekeeper for that pocket of their sphere that you would like access to. Again, this idea of those referrals, have a fantastic referral program. If it's an agent to agent, you'll see, just gift cards and those kinds of things. If you've got somebody who's sending you 3 referrals a year, we're probably talking at least $12,000 in commissions, if not more, from just that one person having conversations and sending people to you. Go out of your way to reward the behavior that you want to continue to see. Thank those people, do whatever it is that you need to in order to keep that relationship alive, vibrant, and it is reciprocal. So if they're sending people to you, you want to make sure that you are delivering something back to them. And then surprise and delight. So this category is actually a lot of fun. We are coming up on the Thanksgiving holiday here in the United States. And this is a fantastic time of year to do even just a small pie giveaway. Some agents, you will talk to them and, they have grown it to be hundreds of pies that they are delivering or, having people come and pick up every Thanksgiving or a couple days before Thanksgiving. Even if you were just to start small, that one little thing, again, that concept of reciprocity, where if you give something to somebody, they feel obligated to give something back. And if you are structuring a pie giveaway, or there's some other ideas I'll discuss as we get there, if you are structuring those well, then that is also a gateway to asking them for those referrals. So all of that information, that's pretty much what we're going to cover in the next half hour or so. We're going to start with why it's important. Sure we are. There it is. If you aren't talking to the people who already know, like, and trust you, somebody else is. Like I said, every person in the United States averages out to know like 3 to 4 realtors. It's just kind of the way it goes. Obviously, there are those of us in the community who know way more. We know hundreds of realtors. But it's also one of those kinds of things where not all realtors do a really good job of talking to their people. And the agents out there who are on top of their marketing, who are paying attention to trends, who are educating and informing the audience that they're developing. If you aren't that agent, somebody else will fill those shoes. So why shouldn't it be you? When we talk about, again, this concept of the people who already know, like, and trust us, there is sometimes that hesitancy of not wanting to pester them, not wanting to bother them. But at the same time, you've also got to look at it from the standpoint of these people already know you. Is it easier to actually talk to somebody who already knows you and catch up on life and have like a genuine conversation that doesn't necessarily revolve entirely around business? Or would you rather go after those cold leads who they don't know you from Adam? They have a need that they're looking for somebody to fill, may or may not be you. Those cold leads are a lot more expensive and a lot harder to convert. So it definitely is one of those situations where you do not want to leave some of the easiest business just sitting there because you've got some inhibition about actually talking to them and telling them what you're doing these days and. Again, go into depth in just a moment, talking a little bit about how we do and don't want to approach our sphere. But just remember that it is going to be way easier, sometimes free, for goodness sake, to actually talk to these people, to actually get sales, get clients, get referrals from them, than it is going out and trying to use a cold lead source. Don't make real estate harder than it has to be. As human beings, for whatever reason, there's this little part of our brain that sometimes thinks that if it's harder, it must be better. And that's not always the case. So with that in mind, again, your sphere is going to be one of the easiest places for you to tap into for business, provided you're asking for it the right way, provided you are actually giving value and not just asking and asking and asking. There's a lot of ways that you can go about investing in your sphere so that they actually want to give back to you. All right, your sphere is a gold mine. There are right and wrong ways to engage with the people that already know, like, and trust you. Just like everybody else, we love buying, we hate being sold to. So with that in mind, you definitely are not going to pick up a phone and make 20 calls and start everyone with, hey, this is such and such, and I got my real estate license earlier this year, and do you want to buy or sell a house? That's obviously not a relational way of going about having a conversation. Calling somebody that you haven't talked to for a number of years, hey, it's been forever. How are you? How has the last, well, we're coming up on almost 2 years, 18 months have been. Obviously, we know the world has been turned on its head entirely. And so, you know, everybody's life has changed to some degree. Even if you haven't talked to somebody for a while, there's a lot of stuff that you can talk about that's sort of general experience that almost everybody is going through right now. Talk about those things. Eventually those conversations will roll around to, what are they doing for work? What are you doing for work? There are some natural segues that can just be built into some of those conversations. But remember, it's a relationship first. You don't have a relationship with the used car salesman. He's selling you something, and most of the time you want to get out of there as quickly as possible. So with that in mind, we do not want to be the used salesman in the real estate industry. You're developing a relationship. What kind of conversation would you have if you weren't in real estate? Start there, and then from that point, obviously, you can work in what it is that you're doing. More than likely, you're going to get questions about, what's the market looking like at this time of year. You're probably going to get questions about, what are we expecting next year? Just all of those dynamics can very easily fit into more of a flowing conversation that doesn't revolve around real estate. It revolves around the relationship. So when we're talking about this, goes back honestly to some of those very first weeks that we were talking about putting things into your CRM, pulling your contacts, making sure that they're in your CRM, they're accessible, you can track the communications that you're having with them. And this might be a good time to reassess. Who do you actually know? Sometimes it takes more than one pass to go through and remember, oh yeah, I had completely forgotten about these people, and whatever, Facebook reminded you it was their birthday. And it's like, oh yeah, why aren't they in my CRM? Essentially, your CRM should hold all the people you know. That is essentially what we are after. Don't disqualify people. It is really, really easy at times to write people off in our mind, to disqualify them in our mind. They wouldn't buy or sell from me because of whatever. Again, they may not buy and sell, but they know other people who might buy and sell. And you aren't just looking at them. You are also considering the fact that they know a lot of people who could be potential referrals as well. So some of those categories to look at: past jobs. So if you've been in an industry where you already know people, that's a really easy one to tap into. Old coworkers. Family, obviously this one, you have to be careful. I am not going to say absolutely everybody in your database is somebody that you want to do a transaction with. Family is probably one of the trickier ones, just because you end up with, again, a lot of relational expectations. And sometimes business can make that really, really difficult. If they're not in your area, you can still refer them to another agent who is in the area. There's a referral fee for you. You are hooking them into a relationship. You're putting them into a relationship where there's trust that they are going to be taken care of. So you may or may not decide to actually do transactions with your family. But again, you are looking for the referral aspect of it. It's not just that one-to-one. It's one, you, to many, the people that they know. You want to stay top of mind so that you end up being that referral agent of choice. And there may be some family members that you're just like, nope, not going to do it. In those cases, okay, sure. You don't necessarily have to put them in your database. You don't necessarily have to be sending them emails and texts, etc., etc. But again, I would say don't shy away from your family in its entirety, including extended family. Friends, this one's pretty easy. Your friends are the people who should really want to support you. Definitely make sure that they are in your database. Again, they know people. They are kind of that gateway to all of those people that they know. You want to be that top of mind agent to be referred. And then if you're a part of groups, hobbies, anything along those lines, think through where you might know other people. Get those folks in your database. All right, consistent touches. The beautiful thing about a lot of what we're talking about when it comes to marketing to your sphere of influence, it doesn't have to cost you anything. You're already paying for your CRM. You are already paying for the ability to email and text these folks. So it is not costing you anything extra to set up some of these avenues of communication. So typically free when we're talking about like drip campaigns. We'll get into more of that in just a moment. But yes, there are going to be ways you could make this more expensive. But it's kind of nice to know that there are some marketing avenues out there where you can tap into some warm leads right away, and it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg. When we are talking with our sphere, friends, our family, people who already know us, don't just regurgitate information that they can go out and find. You know, if you are in an area where, say, you just had a buyer or a seller in a neighborhood, but it's a neighborhood where, you know, your friend's parents also have a house, call up that friend, let them know that you actually were just, you know, had a transaction in that neighborhood. You know, let them know about maybe some of the things that you discovered, either about the neighborhood or just an interesting fact that would be helpful if they were considering buying or selling. Those kinds of things are going to go way further than if you just go find an article on the internet and slap it into an email and send it around. They can go find that article on the internet if they're curious about it. You have the ability to actually tap into some of the things that you know about them that will let you provide more value to them so that it's not just generic information. Drip campaigns. Okay, drip campaigns are called drip campaigns because essentially you set it up so that on a periodic basis, you drip or you send another piece of communication. So again, this is where your CRM is truly that hub in your business. If your CRM is set up and is optimized to get you out to, you know, all of the people that you know, to track your transactions, that CRM really is the most fantastic tool you could ever spend time working on. So a drip campaign, a lot of CRMs actually have some built in. I'm going to tell you, most of them are awful because most of them sound like they were written by a robot. Most of them are not relational. Most of them are very much one of those things where there's, what do I want to say? It's very, very transactional. For some of your leads, those may be okay. You may decide that some of those you're okay with sending out, but if you want to actually have communications that are going to convert, that are going to promote engagement from those people back to you, we are not wanting to sound like a robot. So in an ideal situation, essentially you've got a drip campaign that is going to be set up that is just going to automatically send communications out to your database. Now, I have one for you. Specifically for your sphere of influence. I want to say that it's like 48 touches. So it takes you like a year and a half if you were to send one out every week. And it is a combination of email, text, and calls that you need to make. So for example, you send the first email, and that email is really more of an introductory email. Hey, you're in my database. I'm in real estate. We may not have talked, you know, this is a little bit about what's going on in my life. I want to be sending stuff to you that's actually valuable to you. Here are some ways that, you know, I could give you something right now if it's helpful. And we start it out that way. We don't just go and start sending something every other week and people are like, who the heck is this sending stuff to me? We're going to send an introductory email so that they actually know and can expect those touches every couple of weeks. So there will be, you know, 2 or 3 emails, and then there will be a text sent, and then once a quarter there's a reminder for you to make a call. Essentially, you want to vary the way that you are reaching out to people. Not everybody checks their email. Not everybody checks their text message. Not everybody picks up the phone. But if you're doing some of those things throughout the course of a year, you are going to be touching those people, and they are going to end up seeing you throughout the year in their preferred manner of communication. Mailings are another one. So again, if you like wanted to send out a quarterly postcard, something like that, you know, just showing activity, You could do something kind of fun where, you load up QR codes with a couple $100 and they can go and get a drink at a coffee store on you. There's a lot of just really fun things that you can do when it comes to sending out mailings. Mailings obviously are going to be more expensive. You've got the design aspect of the card itself. You've got the printing, and then you've got the postage. So when we're talking about consistent touches, and I mentioned typically free, obviously the stuff that you're using your CRM for, that is free. But things like mailings, you will incur some cost with that. Again, if you're looking for a variety of ways to touch people and to engage with folks, it very well could be worth that investment. You may want to get started before we actually, turn the corner into a new year where you're wanting to, do all of this stuff on a regular basis. It may do you some good to actually have some income coming in before you necessarily start investing in mailings. But it is another tool in your toolbox when it comes to reaching out to folks. Email newsletters. So again, you've got these touches that you're sending out, but you could send out a monthly, 2 times a month, or once a week, if you were really, really ambitious and had the bandwidth to do it, newsletter. Now, I would not, again, kind of going back to your drip campaigns, do not just use canned content, stuff that they could easily just go and find. You want it to stand out and to be something that they actually want to open because they know they're going to get something that they can't get anywhere else. So, once a month, if you were to send that out, maybe that's a market update on specifically your area. You could talk in 3 different macros. You could talk, here's what stats are doing in the United States overall. Here's what's happening in our state. And then here's what's happening in our city. Or you could go United States, city, and then even if you've got a really small area that you are really focused in on, you could go in depth on that. So there's a lot of different ways that you could structure it, but shooting a video that just is talking about what's happening, basically a market update. Obviously, you can put it on social media, but you can also then include those things in your email newsletter. So if you are creating content for social media on a regular basis, and if you are actually, doing some of these pieces of research, have in the back of your mind that you want to repurpose that. You don't want to just create content for one avenue. You want to put it out there and you want it to do a lot of work for you. So email newsletter, YouTube channel, social media. You might decide that there are a few people that you want to send that email really specifically rather than, just as a group email. So email newsletters, don't use canned content, but definitely don't add extra work for yourself. Whatever work you are already putting into other avenues of your marketing, your videos, your content, graphics, what have you, use that for your email newsletter. Drip campaigns. So went into this actually in a decent amount of detail just a few minutes ago, but essentially what we want to do, we want to send a drip campaign every week, every other week. You might want to feel that one out. My recommendation is to start with every other week. There are a lot of emails that go flying around every single day. People's inboxes are full. You don't want to be one of those emails that just sort of sits there, piles up, gets deleted, what have you. So for some people, once a week is too much, but for most folks, every other week seems to be a good place to start. And you may decide that, eventually we get to the point where you do want to send it every week. You set it up in your CRM, and you can just easily change that so that it's sending every week for you rather than every other week. Fill in the blank drip campaigns are available in your course materials. So I want to say that there are 3 or 4 of them. There's one for your general sphere. There's one for warm buyers. There's one for warm sellers. And then there's one for past clients. So once you start having clients that you want to stay in touch with, there's an email sequence that you can set up so that you are touching them on a regular basis. For that first year, just every few months, celebrating, 6 months with them, asking them if they need a handyman, what have you. There's just, a variety of ways that you can touch them. They can also be on your SOI drip campaign if you wanted, so they will be getting multiple touches from you. It's not like now it's just, every 3 months they're getting something from you. You can keep them on some of those other lists as well, if you'd like, your email newsletter, etc. Combine text, phone calls, direct mail, and emails to reach everyone. So again, not everybody communicates or pays attention to all of the avenues of communication in the same way. So having some variety will make it so that you are not, missing a whole bunch of people. I want to say that the stats for open email is like 6% overall. And text is like way up there, 70s, 80s, or 90%, depending on the demographic that you're looking at. So again, if you've got somebody's email address and their phone number, use both. But at the same time, they may prefer one method of contact or the other, and they may engage with you more in one way or another. So you don't want to exclude all of those. And you're going to see this a couple times. Use your CRM for automation. This may sound overwhelming, but honestly, it's one of those where you fill in the blank on this drip campaign, you load those templates in, you've got all of your people, you go through and you can tag them with something that's like SOI drip or, whatever that tag needs to be so that it's clear for you. And then you start setting it up to send those. You tell the CRM, hey, here's the date that I want this sent. And then 2 weeks later, this is the one I want sent. And then 2 weeks later, here's the next one. Once those templates are loaded up in there, it's very, very simple and straightforward to just go through and get those sent. You set it up once, you don't have to think about it again. All right, your referral network. So obviously your sphere is going to be a big part of that. And here's the thing, you do not want to beat around the bush when it comes to asking for referrals. You don't want to be passive aggressive. Be direct in asking. You know that you are providing excellent service. You know that you can serve clients well. You know that you can find the houses for them. You know you can help them get their house ready to put on the market and get top dollar. Those things, yes. There are some of them where you may have a little bit of trepidation, have a support system around you. This is, again, one of those things that we started out the course saying, have a mentor, find somebody who can actually give you input on your market, on best practices, on your contract, on the way to structure some of those things. So if you've got that piece in place, you want to be the person who receives referrals from the folks you do. With that in mind, you have to actually ask for them. You will see in some of the drip campaign emails, that's what it is. It's an ask. It is a straightforward, hey, I want to help 30 families this year. That's the goal I've set for myself. Is there a way for you to, forward or put us in touch? If you know somebody who's either looking to move out of state because you've developed a network of realtors that you trust out of state, or is there a way that, you can put them in contact with me and I can help them out here? Even just having that first conversation may or may not be a great fit, but have those conversations. And to get to those conversations, you have to ask directly. So with that in mind, don't beat around the bush. Use some of the templates if you needed to. If you're not going to set up a drip campaign right away, that is one thing that you can do. If you've got folks that you're already in touch with, that you've been connecting with, you want to make sure that you're actually tapping into that. Don't let it go to waste. Build your referral network. So yes, your sphere is a huge aspect of that. They already know, like, and trust you. They're going to be much more willing to actually, open those doors to the people they know who might need your help. But we do not want to ignore some of the professional relationships that you can actually develop that will turn into referral partners for you. So you've got other business owners, and in our line of work specifically, those could be title reps, those could be lenders, other contractors who are out there in the field that you've developed a relationship with. You send them business, they send you business, goes back and forth. Other realtors, obviously in and out of state. So if you have people who are, depending on the size of your state, if you've got people who are in an area that you don't specialize in, or you don't necessarily want to do all of the driving that it would take to serve them well, find a referral partner in that area. Some of the things that you're looking for, obviously, how do they treat their clients? Look them up, online reviews. Again, this is why I'm telling you, own your online presence, so that if you're in this situation, somebody's looking for somebody in your area, your presence stands out above the rest. It's professional, it's consistent. You've got amazing reviews with clients raving about your customer service, etc. So, find those realtors who you can refer to, who can in turn refer back to you, both in your area, in your state, but then also out of state. That's something that we've seen a lot in the past 18 months or so. Folks who no longer have to be tied down to an area, they're moving out of state if they can, if they want to, if the lifestyle that they want and the price of housing that they want is better somewhere else, and now they are not tied down to an office that they have to go into, that opens up everything for them. So knowing that there are going to be people who are going to do a lot of crossing state lines over the next couple of years, just with everything that has changed, having a nationwide network of referral partners is also important. One thing to note, this does need to be a reciprocal relationship. And a lot of that is just how you approach it in the beginning. You've got some people and some industries where they will take all day long, but like turning around and giving does not necessarily come top of mind for them. So when it comes to actually having those conversations, it's one of those where it's like, you're looking for a referral partner in the XYZ area. Ask them if they already have somebody that they use as a referral partner in your area. And then again, be straightforward, be right up front, and ask for that relationship. Asking for exclusivity, probably not the best option there, but ask for those referrals from the people that you are starting to develop that relationship with, especially the other realtors that you're going to be developing those more long-standing relationships with. And then follow through as much as possible. The thing with a referral network, it's kind of like your sphere. If these are people outside of your sphere that are part of your referral network, you kind of want to treat them as a secondary sphere, if you will. Stay in touch with them on a regular basis. Let them know about trends that you're seeing in your area. Stay top of mind. Send them an email once a month, or once every few months if you really wanted to spread it out. Stay in touch with them so that when they think, oh, I've got somebody who's looking in your area, you are the person who is top of mind. Surprise and delight. Okay, this one is fun. So we've talked a lot about, consistency and staying in touch with people and communicating regularly and all of these things, and those can be huge. But what's even better than that? Actually being invited to something. Now that the world is starting to open up again and you can invite people to events, to lost my train of thought there. So events, special occasions. Now that those are options again, there's a lot that can happen for those categories of being able to just invest again in your sphere. It does not necessarily have to be everybody. So if you go through and say you've got a database of, let's just say 300 people, but only about 100 of those people actually engage with you, actually send you referrals, those kinds of people, those are probably the ones that you are going to want to actually invest in some of these extra things throughout the year. Now, that's not to say that you would necessarily want to leave all of it off, just because for some people, being invited to that event, that now opens up the door for someone who hasn't interacted a lot with you. But at the same time, you don't necessarily have to treat your entire database the same, I guess is what I'm wanting to say. So some of the ideas when it comes to, you've segmented your database and these are your VIP clients. These are the best people in your database. They engage with you. They've been past clients. They have that you would want to work with again. They have sent you referrals, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Ideas. So rattle through these, and then we'll go into detail in the next slide. So quarterly pop buys, VIP events, end of year special touches, birthdays, home anniversaries. So went into detail in most of these on the next slide. The end of year special touches, those could be things like if you're not doing a ton of stuff for, say, your referral partners, your lender, your title rep, the people that you're just interacting with on a professional basis, at the end of the year, gift cards, something specific to the holidays, whether that's like a wreath or an ornament or whatever you're comfortable with, just finding ways to, again, give back to them in a bigger way. So pop buys, events, birthdays. Never waste an opportunity to be in front of your people. And essentially, that's what a lot of this comes down to. So let's talk about pop buys. Pop buys are essentially something that you're going to do. You could do it on a monthly basis. You could do it on a quarterly basis. But essentially, it's something that you have a reason now to go get in front of your people. So, that could be as we head into the summer months next year. That could be, a grill set, a grill tray, grilling tools, just something that really fits the being outdoors aspect of life. You're probably going to brand it. That is going to be one of the things that you're going to want to do. So again, your name, your business, that's there. It's something that they use. That's not necessarily just going to sit there and collect dust. Now, again, if you've got a database of 300 people, you probably are not going to want to go drive by and deliver 300 of whatever it is, but segment your database. Who are the best people that you want to stay in front of, that you want to stay top of mind with? Go to them. Give them a pop by, once a quarter. Just show up, surprise them. You can let them know. It's probably better if you let them know that you're going to be coming. But it should be a surprise. I've got something for you. Will you be home, tomorrow morning or whatever? So again, it does not have to be huge, but it gives you a reason to pop by their house, to say hi, to catch up, to give them something that they can actually use. And again, it should be branded so that they see it, you're there, you stay top of mind. VIP events. So for some people, events are the bee's knees. For other people, they're a lot more difficult. I'm going to tell you that honestly, there is no better option when it comes to being able to have something, essentially you've got a reason to talk to people. You've got something to invite them to. Once it's done, you've got something to, send comments and sort of like an event wrap up to. So you've got lots of reasons to contact them. You've got the event, you've got lots of reasons now to be able to follow up on that event. And then on top of that, invite them again to the next one, whatever it happens to be. So again, if you were to do this quarterly, There's no reason why it has to be a super, super difficult thing. And again, it does not have to be at scale when you first start. You can start it small. Some ideas: pie giveaway right before Thanksgiving. I've actually watched a class this week, and people who have been doing this for a few years, even the very first one, and they actually are getting referrals immediately from those pie giveaway events. Again, it's this part of the human psyche where it's like, if you give them something, there is just that felt need to return that favor, and referrals are obviously an easy way to do it. You can start as small as 5. If you've got 5 people that you want to deliver a pie to, go to Costco, pick up 5 pies a couple days before Thanksgiving, and then deliver them. Make sure that you've got something, whether that's a note or a sticker or something there, that asks for the referral, that wishes them a happy Thanksgiving with their friends and family, especially this year, since last year was so weird. This year, there's a lot more celebrating probably that's going to be happening. So, again, you are giving to them something that is pertinent to the season, that is actually going to be helpful to them. And at the same time, you have an opportunity for them now to know that you would like a referral. One other small thing that you can do with that, you could actually, depending on how small you are starting out, you could always just find a local baker. And now you've got the added benefit of supporting a local bakery, as well as obviously being able to interact with your sphere. So pie giveaways, nice and easy. I love you a latte around Valentine's Day. You will find, partner with a local coffee store, and you're there, and, from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock in the afternoon, they can come by, drinks on you, what have you. Essentially, it's one of those things. Again, you have the opportunity to interact face to face. You are giving them something. It's fun. And you've got all of these reasons to talk to them beforehand, all of the messaging and communication leading up to the event. You've got the event itself, and then you've got all of the follow-up that you can do as well. And then creating video messages and text or email those then to your sphere on their birthdays and home anniversaries. So obviously Facebook reminds you that it's people's birthday. And I don't know about you, I actually took my birthday off because I hated having a massive list of people wishing me happy birthday, who literally throughout the rest of the year I never had any interaction with. And I was like, yeah, this is just annoying. So Facebook can be helpful for people just to remember that it's their birthday. But again, all of this should be in your CRM as much as possible. And then get those reminders when it's their birthday, when it's a home anniversary. And rather than sending a happy birthday to them on Facebook, which you can still do if you want to. I know that my experience is not everybody's experience. But how much better would it be if you've actually got the contact information for that person, either their phone or their email, or even a message on Facebook, but it's actually a video of you wishing them a happy birthday. If you've kept up with any of the other events in their life, commenting on that, letting them know that you aren't just another one of those friends who just got the Facebook reminder, that you actually care about them, want to take a few minutes to wish them a happy birthday, hope they're enjoying their day, whatever it happens to be. That's going to be a big one when it comes to, again, just having the very human element, not feeling like you're doing things that are just robotic or pre-scheduled or what have you. Again, use your CRM for automation. So whether that's sending out, emails. So say you were having an event, you're probably going to have your initial, hey, this is what's happening, and keep your eye out for it. I'll be following up with more information. Guess what? That's your first email. Second email, or a postcard that you're supposed to send out, or a text message that you're sending out. Hey, tell me what kind of pie you like. I'm going to be delivering them, Tuesday before Thanksgiving. And this is going to be your order form, essentially. There's another email that you can send out. If you wanted to send out a postcard rather than relying strictly on email, if you don't have a ton of email addresses, you can go that way. But you can set up that sequence in your CRM. Same thing for birthdays and home anniversaries. Get a notification when it's somebody's birthday or their home anniversary, and record a quick video message and text that to them the day of their birthday. All of those different kinds of things you can go through and you can do so that it does not end up being something where you just have to keep track of every single little piece. Your CRM, again, a fantastic tool. Use it. So when we're when we're talking about all of this, essentially going back to some of the earlier slides, we really are developing that relationship with people. We are growing that relationship. To that end, call and text your past clients, your sphere of influence contacts, new leads, old leads, and agent/vendor referral partners. Why? Because this is a relationship business. And it's hard to have a relationship with strangers. Don't be a stranger to your sphere. Don't be a stranger to your referral partners. Prioritize staying in front of them, giving them value, keeping them up to date, and developing that relationship. So the one and only thing that I am going to recommend for this week is to set up a drip campaign in your CRM. Like I said, there are several of them in your course area. You can download them, you can edit them, and then essentially it's a two-step process for most CRMs. If you've got questions, we can discuss those on Thursday. We can make sure that it's fairly straightforward and figure out any quirks with your CRM in particular. But most of the time, it's two things. You put the template into your CRM. You're going to name it. I recommend naming it like touch 1, touch 2, touch 3, just so it's a way easier than to go and pull that into the actual drip campaign you set up. So you put the templates in, make sure that that's all set up correctly, and then you go into the part where it says, this is the touch that I want to send, this is the date that I want to send it, and this is who it needs to be sent to. Essentially, that's in a nutshell the way that most CRMs set it up for you. Again, if you've got questions, we can discuss those, but this is going to be a great way to get started with being able to consistently touch and stay in front of your sphere. And our next Q&A call, so specifically talking about all of these strategies here, Thursday, October 28th, 12 o'clock Pacific Standard. I will be sending out that link, or you can find it in the calls section. Let me know if you've got any questions. Have a good one.